Hello and welcome everybody. Today we're going to have a discussion about loving your enemies and what does it mean. So if you're interested, stay tuned, and as always I'm going to pray for you at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. So to let me start off, many times Christians believe that love our enemies mean allow everybody in and love them. And now I want to read for us. I'm going to start in Matthew 5 verse 43. I'm going to read out of the Hebrew translation so that we can get the right understanding. It says, "Moreover, Yeshua said to his Talmudim, that is his disciples, you yourself have heard that the Torah says, but you must love your fellow as yourself. Also, it was said, you must be angry with your enemy." Now, you must be angry with your enemy. That's not part of the Torah, but it's actually part of the Talmud, or the oral laws that the Jews keep. And it says, "And I say unto you, you must love your enemies and do good to those who do evil to you, and pray for those for your prosecutors, in order that you may be sons of your Father who is in the heavens, who brings out his sun over the good ones and the bad ones, and over the righteous and over the unrighteous." So if we just look at that, yes, it is part that we need to love our neighbor, we need to love our enemy. But what does it mean? Who is our enemy? Because many times what I see Christians believe is that we allow everybody in, we accommodate the sin, and therefore, because the sin multiplies, unrighteousness multiplies, and you get a community that once was a good, holy community to become a wicked community. So, can we really say that it means allow the sins of the evil ones to come in? And that is the whole focus point should be on love. What is love? What does love actually mean? Because if we look in Proverbs, it says that we need to discipline those whom we love. I love my children. I love them, and there's discipline in our house. If they decide to do what is wrong, then there is consequences for that. So because I love them, I don't allow what they do to be wrong. I actually help them and I correct them in a loving manner in order for them to be saved and not to fall for wickedness. If we go back to the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, where Adam and Eve partook of, just think about that. Before that, there was no argument or question in their head of what is good and what is evil. It did not exist. They just lived for Yahweh. They did what he said up until the point where sin entered in. Now, in these days, today especially, we've got the arguments. What is right? What is wrong? What is good? What is evil? Because what some people proclaim to be good is actually evil. Some things we learn in schools these days, you can look at the curriculums. I believe it's things that is bad is proclaimed to be good. So there were never this question of what is right and what is wrong. It was always living for Yahweh, and that was it. Now, because of sin, you see, because sin entered in, that is where the questions start to come in. What is now acceptable and what is not acceptable? And with that in mind, think about love. If I would love my enemy, I don't want him to be destroyed because of wrongdoings. So it doesn't mean accommodate his sin. It doesn't mean allow his sin. It doesn't even mean agree with his sin. Because we can definitely see where our Father Yahweh, in passages past Exodus, when you go and read in Exodus 23 about where he said you need to love, when you look past that, there was wars. There was things that they had to get rid of, and especially because of the sins of the nations accumulated so much, they had to be destroyed. So if I would say in my community that there's evil ones, to just leave them will not be love. To help them, correct them, and bring them into the light, that will be more accurate of love. So loving your enemies does not mean tolerate. And many people these days believe, if we just look right across the world, they allow people into their communities, which is not a bad thing. But allowing and tolerating their sin, that is where the problem comes in. Loving would mean to help those people on the path of righteousness. But because we do not understand what it means, we do not fulfill this commandment as we should, and there we allow the enemy to come in like a Trojan horse and bring destruction from within. I never believed that was Yeshua's intention when he spoke this message. They were under Roman occupation. So I don't believe that he meant that you need to tolerate the sins of the people. He actually spoke against their sin, which be a contradiction in today's idea of loving your enemy. Think about that. Pray about that. Because if you know the truth shall set you free, and you will actually do what you are supposed to do. Father, I pray today that we'll listen to your words, but understand your word. We come to you because you are the source of knowledge. We desire to be filled with your knowledge and your truth, Father. Fill us with your truth so that we can fulfill the instructions that you have given us. Father, help us to understand your instructions so that we can do them as you want us to do them. Father, I pray for your blessing over everybody watching this video, and I pray that your Ruach HaKodesh will speak to us so that we can know the truth, and the truth shall set us free. I thank you for your love, and I thank you for your mercy, and I thank you for that. In the name of Yeshua, be blessed.